Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So let's talk about Kristen and Susan, because I'm just wondering which one of them are gonna screw up first. That's what I'm wondering. We'll start with Susan and Lonnie. Lonnie comes 1 second. So yeah, Lonnie comes to visit Kristen, which is really Susan, in jail. And she asks her certain things about, like, their time in Rome. There's certain things that Susan doesn't know. Like, she didn't even know that her daughter, Kristen's daughter, was back in Salem. She thought that she was still in Rome. So there's just a lot of things that she doesn't know. And the way that she's acting, there was one scene where I guess, like the dentures or whatever that, and I'm mixing them up now. The dentures that Susan was using was about to fall out. So she's just all over the place. And Lonnie's like, yo, you alright? You good? Like, what's going on? But of course, because we gotta keep this ruse going, Lonnie just chalks it up to the fact that she's probably sleep deprived and she's worried about Brady and Rachel and stuff like that. So a lot of those things that Kristen would normally know, she's just not getting. And at first she's like, what's going on with you? But she chalks it up to that. There's one part where they're praying. And Susan just starts saying stuff that Kristen would never say. Hell, throughout most of this scene, there is things that Susan is saying that Lonnie's just like, this doesn't sound like you at all. And when Lonnie leaves and she, catches up with Abe and Eli, Eli's like, how's Kristen doing? And, Lonnie says something off like, oh, she's just not really herself, and I'm like, so at what point are we going to just start to just, like, here's the thing. I think she can pull it off probably a little bit longer. Because, let's be honest, the only other person that she's really going to have to sit there and deal with is Brady. Lonnie's not going to probably see it, I don't think that she really sees her that often, like maybe once a month or something. So if she can get past Brady, then, I guess she'll be in the clear. Now on the other side of town, we got Kristen being Susan. And she is just hella rude to Chloe. The minute she walks in, she just starts giving her attitude. And, Chloe brought over some muffins and stuff like that. And so she starts yelling at her and just being extremely rude. Hell, even Chloe's like, the hell is going on with you? Brady comes out and he wants to try some of her, Okay, he wants to try some of her muffins. I really tried to do that with a straight face, but he wanted to try some of them. And he's about to eat one of them, and Kristen just slaps it out of his hand. And he's like, yo, what is going on with you? Like, first he calls her out for, like, being straight up rude. But Kristen actually thought on her feet. I give her points for this. Here's the thing about this whole Chloe and Brady situation. And I said this before in my last review. That Chloe is playing this doe-eye, like, oh, I'm being innocent. Like, she knows she has an attraction to Brady. She knows that Brady is in love with Kristen. But yet, you keep sitting there trying to get closer to this guy who is tempting you to do something without you even noticing it. Like, without you even, like, knowing it. Like, you know that you have an attraction to him. You would sit there and think, alright, maybe I would just back off a little bit, drop off the papers or whatever and not really be so close to him if I know I'm having an attraction to him. But no, that's not what she's doing. She's just sort of like, oh, we're just going to be friends. And, like, it's just dumb. I'm trying not to curse, but just dumb nonsense. That. So, anyway, with that being said, Kristen starts crying and she talks about, because at first she's blaming Chloe for getting him shot. And then she's like, oh, well, you know, John is not in good health, and if something happens to you, John may have an aneurysm, and it'll affect Marlena, and then she starts crying and everything like that, and, you know, Brady just chalks it up to the fact that, you know, maybe she's just really concerned for, you know, him and his well-being and his family and stuff like that, so he's just like, alright, you know what, listen, you've done, like... You've been acting just weird, like extra, but maybe it's just the fact that you're just really worried and concerned. Here's my whole theory about this. Kristen can kind of play Susan a little bit better. Because when Susan acts out of line, or when she does something that's just like a little bit extra, we'll just chalk it up to Susan being, well, a whack job. We'll just chalk it up to that. But, with Susan being Kristen, she has to remember certain things. She has to remember certain things. Certain things about Kristen that, well, kind of only Kristen would know. So to be honest, I feel like maybe Susan is going to be the one to drop the ball first. I really do think so. What else? So once again, Abigail asks Gabby to team up with her. And at first, Gabby's just like, nah, I'm good. And Abigail is... Here's the thing. At first, I was like, you know, maybe you should just kind of just drop it a little bit, seeing how, you know, Gwen is also Jack's daughter, and, you know, if you're hurting her, you're kind of hurting Jack. Maybe you should just kind of, you know, tone it down a little bit. Maybe you should just kind of just, you know, move on. Nah, I get it. The fact that Gwen drugged Abigail, slept with her husband, got her in some sort of way to damn near break up Jack and Jennifer's marriage. Yeah, no, I get it. So with that being said, you know, Abigail works extra hard to try to get Gabby to, you know, help her team up and take down Gwen. Gabby's like, alright, I'll do it on one condition. You break up Jake and Kate. Funny thing about that is Kristen being out, you know, of prison, she made a promise to Vivian to also break up Jake and Kate. So this should be interesting. This should be interesting, to some extent. I'm just like, damn, Gabby. I mean, I was going to sit there and say, I was like, you know, you do look good enough to get another man, but to be honest, there's not really a lot of other characters on this show that I guess you can really get with, so... Okay, alright, sure. You know, at first Abigail's like, nah, I'm good. And Gabby's like, alright, fine. But Abigail... I don't want to sit there and say being so desperate for revenge, but just being so hard on getting revenge towards Gwen that she's like, alright, fine, I'll do it. So, they got a deal, and, at some point when Gabby pays Gwen a visit, you know, she starts talking smack a little bit, and then, well, actually, tell you the truth, now I don't remember what else really happened. But, yeah, she paid her a visit, so, you know, I guess she's just putting her on notice. Man, this whole thing is crazy. You know, at first, when Gabby was like, nah, you know, I'm good or whatever, I was just like, really? You just gonna let that whole thing slide with, you know, Gwen setting you up for something and just watching you just probably go to jail for the rest of your life pretty much, or for a long time? Like, you cool with that? And at first I was just like, alright, maybe she's acting a little bit bratty, but then I understood where Gabby was coming from. You know, she's like, yo, listen, I got a great job, got this new job, I'm gonna do really great, I'm gonna be a great mom, just kind of focus on me and just kind of just, you know, I'm on the right path. And you know what, to be honest, now that I think about it, it's like Gabby is actually trying to do good. Just focus on her company, focus on her daughter, just focus on being a good person, a good mom. Abigail, on the other hand, is like, nah, we you know, that just get you into a little trouble, you know? Because honestly, to tell you the truth, at one point, Gabby was like, yeah, listen, I'm not trying to be collateral damage in whatever crap fest that you got going on with your sister. Like, I'm good. Um, so when she turned her down, I actually understood exactly why she did it. And I was like, you know what? I mean, it wouldn't be as entertaining, but I understand where she's coming from. But she has agrees to do it, so I guess we'll just, you know, sit back with the popcorn and my ice cream that I still didn't get yet. And, you know, watch the good times roll. Eli and Abe didn't really talk about much. I mean, they just talked about the stuff that we already know. Well, she didn't, you know, he doesn't like Kristen for reasons that we all can agree with. He also catches Abe up on the whole, damn, it's been a long weekend. Oh, the whole Charlie situation and Sammy being like kind of the prime suspect and stuff like that. Yeah, that was pretty much about it. I honestly tell you, if I'm not gonna lie, I was like, did they really need to be in this episode? Like, I mean, listen, there was some nice, you know, father and you know, son-in-law scenes or whatever, but like, did they really need to show up for work today? So yeah, they didn't really do much of anything, to be honest. And when Kristen got back from the jail, seeing Kristen, Susan had some sort of flash or whatever, some sort of premonition. And when they all got back home or whatever, they got a knock at the door. Now, I guess Jackie's new character name is Aunt Pauline or Aunt Paulette. I think that's her name. So it should be interesting. I'm not gonna lie, you know, kind of showing my age a little bit, but I remember Jackie O'Harris, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, from this show called 227. If you know the show 227, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But another great actor, Ernie Hudson. So I go back that far. I go back sister far. So I'm actually really curious to see what kind of character she's going to be in this show. Because I've been watching a little promos or whatever. And like, you know, like them talking up her character and stuff like that. So let's see what this is going to be like. Because here's the thing. This is either going to be a really great character. She's going to play this character really well. Or it's going to be an effing disaster. And I'm hoping that's going to be great. So I guess we'll see. Now, the last scene that I'm going to talk about is the Jack and Gwen scenes. Well, they pretty much just bond, you know? They haven't, you know, they're kind of like becoming, not kind of becoming, but kind of like, well, Jack pretty much is like, listen, we can't kind of go back in time, but we can kind of start fresh and stuff like that, you know? 1 second. They just really have some nice scenes, some nice father-daughter scenes, and you know, at first Gwen is, you know, she still has up that wall, you know, she still kind of, you know, when they talk about Gwen and how, you know, Jack is like how angry, you know, she is at her for, you know, sleeping with her husband and, you know, drugging her and stuff like that. Gwen gets kind of defensive. And, you know, here's the thing. She came over originally to thank Jack for just, you know, helping her out, giving her the benefit of the doubt. They talk about they talk about Abigail, and automatically she starts to get, like, jealous and defensive and stuff. So, they got a long road ahead of them, you know. And the sad thing is that I feel bad for Jack. Because Jack is just caught up right in the middle. You know, you talk about the town square fight or whatever. And, you know, he doesn't want to sit there and seem like he's taking Abigail's side. You know, but Abigail is his daughter. You know, so it's like, well, what do you do? They're both in it, they're fighting. Gwen did start this, but, you know, Gwen didn't have a father growing up. And granted, that does not make an excuse for all the crap that she's pulled since she's got there. But I guess Jack feels like it's his obligation to kind of like make it up in some sort of way. So now he's just kind of stuck in the middle. And, you know, on the other side of town, you got his other daughter that's in there plotting revenge. But they have a nice little father and daughter like hug and talk and stuff like that. So it's, you know, it's a work in progress. And when she leaves, of course, Abigail comes back, and Jack is like, so, just to let you know, your sister showed up. And automatically, Abigail's like, ugh, you know, she is not happy about that. And that's when Jack is like, listen, I get you're not happy about her, you're not thrilled about her, and, you know, she's really screwed up, but, well, she is my daughter too, so I don't really know what to say, you know? And it sucks because the sad thing is that I feel like even on a subconscious level, now that he knows that Gwen is his daughter, he's raised Abigail his whole life. So even on a subconscious level, he's going to sit there and be favoring Abigail. He's going to be favoring Abigail, and he's going to be sitting there trying to make up for lost time with Gwen. So he's just all kind of screwed up. And yeah, he did talk to Jennifer for a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of was just like, this was another one of those scenes where it's like, was this really necessary? Listen, from what I understand, from what people are telling me in the comment section, that this Jennifer is going to be going, and I guess they're going to be getting a new Jennifer at some point. And all Jennifer says is that it's taking a lot longer to sell the house, and it's a lot more complicated. You know, she's having, you know, her brother's helping her out. It's going to take another week or two, and I don't know how long that. I don't know what kind of timeline that is for soap opera lingo. So her week can be, hell, 2 months at this point. So I guess we'll just wait and see. Yeah, that whole phone conversation really was not necessary. Listen, I do really like this show, but there were certain scenes in this show that was just not needed. I guess it was needed as far as Abe and Eli, because they were catching people up on Sammy and the whole Charlie murder and stuff like that. But for the people who've been watching the show, it's like, so was this scene necessary, or we couldn't have cut out any of those scenes? And even again, Jennifer was on there for like, what, under 5 minutes, and then we didn't see her for the rest of the episode. So the only thing that Jack really told Abigail is that it's taking it's a lot more complicated as far as her coming back. It's taking a lot longer. Okay, cool. But that was a waste of a whole scene. But thanks. That's about 3 minutes I will never get back in my life. So that's awesome. I think that's actually about it. This episode was, it was so-so. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either. Kristen did think on her feet, and I give her points for that, because she could have took the whole attitude route, which, listen, I haven't known Kristen that long, and I know she has zero patience. So the fact that she used an emotional tactic rather than just her being angry and, kind of bitchy, I give her points for that. And I mean, to be honest, listen, I didn't like the fact that she was kind of being really nasty to Chloe, but Chloe really needs to stay in her damn lane, and maybe she wouldn't have to worry about her feelings getting hurt so much. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. Let me know what your thoughts are on this episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? It was whatever. I'm kind of looking more forward to the whole clue of who killed Charlie saga. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe. I will catch everyone in the next review.